Hey guys, this video is my 3-month after tirzepatide check-in. I have now been off my GLP-1 medication for 3 months and I have not gained or lost any weight since I took my last shots. I do seem to be maintaining. For those who are new, my short story is that I lost 34 pounds on compound tirzepatide. I was on it for 6 months. In my first 4 months, I lost 30 pounds and reached my goal weight. I stayed on the starting dose of 2.5 milligrams of tirzepatide for those 4 months. During those 4 months, I started a bunch of lifestyle changes. I started intermittent fasting. I started a high protein diet, and I started more strength training into my exercise routine. My last 2 months on compound tirzepatide, I switched to a half of my starting dose, so a microdose. And during those last 2 months of weaning off of it / maintaining while on it, I just tried to really solidify my lifestyle choices. So my total on it was 6 months, with those last 2 months being weaning / maintenance months. I am actively working at maintaining, and these are the coping strategies I'm using to do that. I do a 14-hour to 16-hour intermittent fast just about every day. Now, there's a couple days around when my cycle is about to start and when my cycle starts that I don't necessarily do it, so those are more like 12 hours. But most days of the month, I do a 12 to 16-hour intermittent fast. So for me, that is usually if I have dinner at 6, then I don't eat after dinner. And then I just kind of delay breakfast a couple hours. I have breakfast, maybe around 9. So for a lot of people, that would be like normal. For me, I'm actively trying to do that on purpose. If I just wasn't trying to do anything, I probably would eat breakfast the second I woke up, and I probably would have had like a before bed snack. So it's obvious that that saves me like 500 calories right there. On most days, I eat at least 100 grams of protein a day. That is definitely different than I was at before I started my weight loss journey with my GLP-1. I want to say before my GLP-1 weight loss education, I was maybe eating like half the protein that I am nowadays. So I've totally changed my eating habits to be very protein focused. I do try to get a lot of veggies in. I do try to eat kind of low carb, but I don't focus on that too much. I more focus on staying within my eating window and eating really high protein and then getting the veggies in. I also do avoid sweets. So I don't say no sweets or anything, but I try to not have sweets like on a daily basis. It has to be more of like a treat, like once a week or something. I exercise 6 days a week, 7 if I can. Some weeks are better than others. Twice a week, I try to do Pilates. And then once a week, I do a full body weightlifting at the gym. On other days, I just make sure I get like at least a 30-minute walk in or something. But I'm doing strength training at least 3 days a week. Here is kind of what was new this month. This month, I would say I struggled with chocolate / sugar cravings just a little bit more. And maybe it's because like the last little bit of tirzepatide is finally out of my system after being on it 6 months. Or maybe I just like am having a really chocolatey craving month. I don't know. But I have tried to lean into my coping strategies, eating high protein and then staying within my eating windows. And then if, sometimes I need to allow myself to eat a little chocolate, I just eat a little chocolates. And then I've also been trying though to eat some like healthier recipes with chocolate. So I have some cocoa powder. And so I made myself like really healthy pumpkin brownies, like out of pumpkin puree, so that it was just like a healthier version of that since I was craving chocolate. So I've also been kind of like having fun making some healthier recipes using cocoa powder that are, lower in sugar than if I were to like go get a bunch of M&Ms when I'm just like really dying for some chocolate. I would say hunger and cravings are just extra hard around my cycle. I've talked about that in other videos. When I'm around my cycle, I try to just lean into my coping strategies and honestly give myself a little grace. And I've noticed like if I go up, a pound or two while I'm on my cycle, within a week, once I'm back to, being extra good, then it usually comes off. I am now going to answer a couple questions from some of my previous videos just because in these check-in videos, I don't want to get too repetitive or anything. I want to tell you where I'm at, but there wasn't a ton new from last month, so I want to go ahead and answer some of the viewer questions that I've gotten. Why did you start intermittent fasting while you were on the meds and had appetite suppression? That is a very good question, because when I was on, a full dose of Tirzepatide, I really wasn't very hungry, and so it was very easy to stay in a weight loss calorie deficit. But I, from the beginning, was really hoping to do a short-term therapy with my GLP-1. And by short-term, I just meant like not lifelong. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to use this as a tool to make sustainable habits. And so intermittent fasting is a tool that I kind of tried to start before my GLP-1 therapy, but it was really, really hard because I was like having all sorts of cravings and I had some bad habits and everything. And then it became very, very easy once I was on my GLP-1 to go 14 to 16 hours without eating. And then I found when I weaned off, it was a little harder. And then when I was off, I mean, it's harder than it used to be, but it is just kind of like a part of my life now. And I found it's a really great way for me to maintain my weight and to stay in my calorie window. Because like I mentioned earlier, naturally, I'm someone who could like eat all day long. And so just by like eliminating that like after dinner before bed snack and pushing breakfast back later, because then I'm not going to snack in between breakfast and lunch, I'm definitely saving like a ton of calories. Not to mention there's all sorts of science behind intermittent fasting. Your body starts burning fat after a certain amount of time. So just for me, I started it while I was on the medicine just as a lifestyle change that I hope to continue after the medicine. And it did work, like I was able to keep that lifestyle change and it's helping me maintain. Aren't you supposed to fast longer than 14 to 16 hours with intermittent fasting? So there's a lot of different definitions of intermittent fasting. I read the book Fast Like a Girl, which was very interesting. It talks about how you can vary your fast by where you're at in your cycle, if you still get cycles. But that author defines intermittent fasting as 14 to 16 hours. More than that is a longer fast. And there's a ton of science behind how just a 14 to 16 hour fast can totally help your body and burn fats, and it's great for your insulin resistance and like all of that. So 14 to 16 hours for me feels doable. More than that, I think would be harder, and I don't know that I need to do that because I'm just maintaining now. I know some people do much longer intermittent fasts, and if that works for you, that's great. What do you eat to hit your protein goals? I'm having trouble getting it in. I've had to learn to eat more meat, because before I was kind of carb heavy and I definitely did not get enough protein in. And so like a regular day of eating would be breakfast is either some sort of egg dish, like over easy eggs with toast, or an omelet or something like that, maybe with turkey sausage too. Lunch might be a salad with chicken breast or turkey, or lunch meat turkey on it, or maybe even a turkey sandwich. An afternoon snack is probably a protein bar or protein drink. For dinner almost always will have, a chicken breast or ground turkey or lean beef or something like that. And, veggies with all of that. And so really by the end of the day, I'm almost always at 100 grams of protein or over. So I think if just, every meal and snack, you try to have a significant portion of protein with it, then you'll be golden. I think just try not to have any like throwaway meals or snacks. So for example, that would be like a meal or a snack that's under 20 grams of protein. So if you were to just like have a bagel with butter, that would be kind of a throwaway meal because there's like no protein in that. I'm planning to get off, but I'm so nervous. What advice do you have for me? So hopefully you're talking to your provider and everything, of course. But my advice based on my experience would be to wean off of it so that getting off of it is not shocking to your mind and your body. And then it would also be to, while you are still on it, to solidify your lifestyle changes and your coping strategies, and really have those lifestyle changes and coping strategies like solid, so that when you get off of it, you can just continue to do them. All right, that is it for my video. I hope it was helpful to you. I would love to know where you're at with your GLP-1 journey in the comments. I love hearing everyone's stories and knowing where they're at. If you have any questions for me, feel free to leave those in the comments. Please give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. I would love if you subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in my next video.